There's a term for that.
Vertigo shot. That's what I call it. Like
it has the actual, like, I can't remember. I just was looking that up for some reason the other day.
But I think Alfred Hitchcock made it famous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the subject stays the same size, but the background changes if you do it right. Dolly zoom, you could call it that. That might be one.
I will have to pay attention to that the next time I watch Vertigo.
Yeah, it's a shot. There's a guy like sitting down, facing the camera. I forget I don't remember the details of the plot, but it's definitely a portrait shot of somebody sitting down and having a moment where they're freaking out.
Jimmy Stewart, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And then the background is swirling.
It's not really swirling, but it's I think the background's like getting wider, like as if it's zooming out, but he's staying the same size because they're pushing in. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Toppled Cheeto.
I'll have to pay attention to that.
Yeah, recently toppled.
Ooh, rockfish. Oh, what do we have here?
Their little cave where they sleep.
Yep.
Cool
so would that be a sebastomus because of the 5 spots? But this is a cool.
No, those aren't
really
those aren't the right 5 spots.
Okay.
Sorry. Those are like
Too bad.
Here's that coral. Could we zoom on one of those corals again?
Which one? Right. To the right? The same ones as before?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but you're already pivoting to the left, so that's okay.
Not far.
And I don't
you can
take
zoom
too
see.
much time. I just want to like look at that closer so we can be more certain.
That's full zoom.
Sighing. You think Peristinella? It's got all those brittle stars again.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's Peristinella. I think it's just not growing in that large shape.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of is, but on one end. But yeah, it looks a little. But the axis. And
okay. Yeah.
All right, gotta keep moving with the.
Yep. Ship. Thank you. Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm thinking Peristinella.
Yeah, because Plumarella is much more like a fan, and this was much more bushy.
On one plane, and that's what I couldn't quite make out. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't extremely bushy, but still.
Yeah. I think that's an Aurora rockfish that we just went over, and that may have been what those others were. Did we catch the rock?
May have picked up a inadvertent sample.
Yeah. Sample 150.
So I wonder if all that, well, we'll find out soon, won't we? I wonder if remember we were seeing a lot of dead sponge on our previous shift. I wonder if that was all Pharea as well. And if that's what we're looking at here.
This looks a bit different. We encountered a Pharea field when we did the dinner relief. And it had a different texture than this.
It looks different?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, look at this.
Just stop him up for a minute.
What are...
Bridge
oh,
snap.
my.
It's like reflective.
Okay. Now,
Hold position.
What about this coral to the left when we see after the sponge? This looks like it's on more of a single plane.
Yes.
That looks more like Peristinella to me.
not plumarella?
Zoom in there, Steve.
I'm gonna take this opportunity to spin out Argus.
I have to see. I don't have a picture of that one on my guide.
Probably
Okay,
put
so
a spin in you.
I guess it's not on a single plane, but it's more planular than it's not as bushy as I thought. But yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Peristinella. I'm glad we got a few good close-ups. Thanks.
Unless somebody in the science chat wants to, who's an expert, wants to adjudicate this.
It's just us and Lizzie is
Yeah.
still with us.
Yeah. At this hour, everybody's gone to bed. We're the only fools. Look at the gray sponge here. Isn't that sponge?
Yeah,
On the rock?
Yeah.
Check it out.
encrusting. How far are we away from the reef? Just so we're not
We're pretty close.
taking too
So
much.
yeah, we
Okay,
got
good.
a good amount of time. I think we're good.
Okay, good. Thanks.
We gotta keep moving to make our target.
No, we're actually pretty close. About 80 meters away from the Ferrea Reef Continues 1 target, which is where they suggested we start that
Transect.
200 meter transect along.
Okay.
I'm seeing some bits of dead sponge.
Yep.
Zoom there, Steve, if you want.
Tunicate and those yellow tunicates.
Yeah, I think those are tunicates.
We might be looking at 3 different kinds of tunicates.
Gray
Wow.
encrusting sponge, or is it?
It's either encrusting sponge or encrusting tunicate. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I have no idea. But glad we got a zoom in.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody can.
Yeah, they've all somewhat converged upon similar body shapes, so it's so hard for me to tell the difference between a tunicate and a sponge sometimes.
Yeah, maybe that does look like the Ferrea. Just a little bit more like densely encrusted than
Oh, that
the dead sponge.
dead stuff on top. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's dead.
Yeah.
There was some dead haired Aragon too, though. Some spots.
Yeah.
Right, so hopefully
That's some trash right there.
folks who are
Oh, yeah.
listening in.
We'll be going north.
Roger.
And kind of like slowly go in that direction. We'll bump up there and prepare for the transect.
Here it comes.
More of those clams.
Here's the start.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
decent amount of live Farrea in there.
See how
Yeah,
much
so they said it would be okay to drop a waypoint and say that we're seeing the start here
Sure.
so that we can get an idea of the expanse. That'd be great. Thank you. Yeah, this is
And we
definitely
did
dead
get our
Farrea.
we did get our Niskin at the end of the last transect, right, Lisa?
Yes, we did. We did.
Okay. I've already forgotten.
Phew. We did.
Gosh.
I know I have my list here and I'm crossing it out as we go along.
Good,
yeah,
good.
was one of the items on the list to collect that Farrea? Or,
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
We collect-
transect is
yeah.
We collected some at
is the
dinner.
biggest.
oh, yeah,
They
that's
want
right.
some of the dead Freya.
Oh, they want some
They
dead
want some
stuff.
of the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Living in the dead.
So
You know,
At one point, the
We're
front
so
porch was completely covered in it.
Yeah.
it's probably more up here.
oh, well, there you go.
I got to go joyriding at dinner, and I was asking Tom, how hard is it? Would it support the vehicle if I land? And he said, I don't know, try it. So we did.
It did not.
It did not.
It was pretty crumbly.
Yeah.
Like a pillow,
Crunch.
soft pillow of crunch.
So I'm just going to look at high pack real quick and see where we are
Sure.
relative to those marks on the. Oh yeah, okay. We're getting close to the mark that says photo mosaic, where they did a photo mosaic, Lisa.
Yep. So maybe
And
if we
so, yeah.
we can do if we see something interesting after the transect
Yeah.
that we'll do moving north, we can do another one and collect some of the dead Farrea.
Yeah.
So I'll bump
And
us
then we can
north
just-
a little bit towards that Freya Reef continues one, and then maybe do they want us to travel kind of right along that path that they did? Maybe not the same exact path,
Yes.
but right along it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it looks like
Yeah.
there's possibly some more exploration if we've got time on the other, like more extent-wise after the transect, because we'll just be doing a straight shot.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
continue north on the transect or past the transect. He said, right, Lisa, that we could continue going even farther north along the reef if it continues.
Yes. Yes, we wanted
Okay.
to see how far it would go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, first I'll step us to that start point, and we'll reorient for the transect.
Yeah, and I saw you drawing a line, so something parallel to the line that they did would be good.
Bridge nav. 75 meters north. Thank you.
It's so great to be able to see the high pack screen.
Yeah,
It's really helpful.
very nice. So folks who are tuning in, that's on channel 3 or channel 4 in the quad view. And that's what we use to see what the backscatter, so that's a way of interpreting the hardness of the substrate. So if you see white, that means it was mapped and interpreted as hard substrate, and black is very soft. And you can see on here the different waypoints, and you can see the ship, the Nautilus, which is in green, just an interpretation of the ship. And this is a great tool for us to figure out where we're going and what we might anticipate. And we're always looking for a hard substrate. So where the white reflectance is on the map. And we didn't
Now,
introduce ourselves. Go ahead.
Oh,
Do you want to introduce ourselves?
well,
We didn't do that.
I'm Diana Waters. I'm at the National Marine Fisheries Service lab in Santa Cruz, and I work on ground fishes and seafloor habitat.
Yes, and I'm Lisa Vonink. I work with DI in another arm of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. I work at the Office of National Marine Sanctuaries as the policy coordinator for the 5 West Coast National Marine Sanctuaries, and we are right now in the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary, the one furthest to the south in California.
Here in the van, this is Stephen Matter in the video chair.
Dan in the Argus chair.
Jake sitting in the Herc chair.
Rennie in the nav seat.
And Taylor Ann in the data logger chair.
Yay.
Yeah.
So
And
are we, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
It feels like we're off to the left of the ridge. Could that be?
Right, yeah, we are indeed. Just
Okay.
judging by the contour lines, and that matches up with what we're seeing in front of us. So we're headed north just to kind of get on the top of that ridge and towards the start here. So I'm headed up.
Okay. So we'll be more on top of the ridge near their previous track line when we do the transect. Is
Yeah,
that
that's
right?
correct. I just avoided hitting the photo mosaic target because they've already been there. So I figure we'll try to cover some more ground on our way there.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing dead Ferrea here.
Yeah. So I think it's just the top of this whole mound and getting I guess the western extent. We're gonna see when it starts to become thicker.
So what I wanted to explain to folks is that the Nautilus crew, when you heard all the folks saying Herc seat and Argus seat, they are on the Nautilus, bringing this to
Which
you.
is the ship.
Yes, the ship, thank you. And the Hercules and Argus are the ROVs. And then we have folks on the ship who are taking care of the video. That was Steve. And he's, if you're looking at the quad view, he's sort of cycling through the different cameras that the Nautilus ship has. And Taylor Ann, she's doing data logging. Sometimes you'll hear her help us ID the organisms that we're seeing. And then Di and myself,
You're going to have to come out of auto depth.
Really? Okay.
Yep. We're bringing this to you from our home offices. Because of COVID, we too are participating via telepresence. And I'm here in my office on the north side of the Monterey Bay. And Di, you're on the other side of the hill from me.
Yep. I'm over in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
In Mountain View.
We're not far from each other, though.
Less than an hour.
So
My
what
folks live
we're
up near you.
Oh, that's right. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
I marked another target here that this is the Freya extent.
Yeah.
At least from our approach.
So what you can see here are the remnants of what was once living Freya.
Bring your head to the right a little and come up.
Yep.
The living Freya is white, but then these are sort of these
That's probably good.
beds of dead Freya on which other corals are growing.
Wow. And the
just
Freya
mounds
is
and
a
mounds
sponge.
of it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a glass sponge. So if we see a live Freya, can we just stop and zoom in on it? So
are we on transect right now, or?
Negative, not yet on transect.
Oh,
we're still working our way up to the ridge, the top of the ridge, right? Or
yep, we're approaching the top. Kind of coming at it at a bit of an angle as we get up there.
Wow, this is amazing.
So we do have a live sample from, but that was a different site probably. Is that right, Taylor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
Wow, it's really cool.
Look at all the nooks and crannies here. There's so many different just the complexity of the habitat here is incredible. Zooming along.
Wow.
It looks like their track line, if they were on the actual spine of the ridge, is a little offset from the backscatter. Would that be fair to say? Well, let's see. That was the previous shift. So
Yeah, I'm just looking at their targets, and that looks like, yeah, they were slightly
yeah,
offset.
There's
So
some live.
because I'm wondering if we should go east and get up there and then get going on the transect rather
There's
than.
some life right there if you want.
Oh yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Did you want to
So
zoom in on it or?
no, it's fine. We're just going over a small patch of the live Pharea. It's white. It looks sort of frilly with
Keep
layers
moving,
of
Jake.
potato chips. It's fine.
yeah, so what I was going to do is just kind of offset it slightly west, so we're more on the ridge.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Wow.
You should fly manual
Yeah.
in here.
I thought we were in transect for the longest time.
We're not in transect, no.
I wonder if we should start pretty soon.
Yeah, we're just got 5 more meters left in the ship move, so this is the area I was thinking we'll start.
Perfect.
So
That's
we're going to change
amazing.
our orientation. We'll have the ship
Fly up, see the extent of it. Look around.
Wow.
Ship will go 333.
Just keeps going.
Seems to be parallel to their track and then still on top of the ridge.
Great. That's fantastic.
Hey, Roger. Yeah.
How's it look from 333 from your view? Does it look like it extends in that direction?
Coming around.
It should, according to their prior track. We're only offset by, we will only be offset by like 20 meters or so. 15 meters.
Okay.
Just to ensure that we get the track that they want over this and not in.
This is north.
Still offset from there. Okay. Yeah.
I have to slide up the hill some more.
This is
or crab.
330.
Right. Yeah. Well, we could go.
It looks downhill there.
Yeah, it will be downhill along this ridge feature.
Oh, we can crab through there.
Okay.
What if you look down a little, Chick? Yeah, that seems doable, yeah.
Yeah.
It's downhill, but it looks like it's pretty parallel to 5 or 10 meters. What if you slide up the hill 5 meters or 10 meters?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get up a little higher.
Hey, Taylor, Ann, which transect are we starting now?
This will be transect number 10.
Okay, so we're off
Yeah.
by 1.
10, I guess 9 didn't get entered, did it?
I think 8. I'm looking
Slide
at the
to your
data
right.
recovery report.
Yeah, I'm going to my right.
We can fix it.
Yeah,
8 didn't
go
get
like
entered.
5 or 10
Yeah, and
meters
if you look
up.
in the
I'm
chat,
looking at the sonar.
the data logger before me started
looking at
transect
DVL.
number 9
I
at
will,
065200.
Okay,
And
yeah,
then-
we'll
Oh,
move
we
it
have
down.
that entered in 8.
And then
Okay,
we
we have that
ended
entered.
that at 071313.
Okay. So I'm going to move what we have in 8 to 9, if that was
Okay,
transect
good.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah, another 5
And I
meters.
can look up too and earlier in the
Great,
chat and
Nav.
see what.
And we have it in a separate tracking in our data
10
Okay.
in our
meters,
data recovery data
045.
report.
I have the time
Yeah,
for
that looks
transect
better.
8 too if you need that.
I got it 052340.
Yep.
Yeah. Just move stuff over.
So this will be, we're pretty much on the exact line that they were on up here.
Okay.
So we could.
Is that offset enough? Or?
We should offset if we can.
Yeah. It'll be slightly down. So here I can show you where we are.
I
So
think
this is
we're
their track here on these targets, right?
Yeah.
We're kind of
okay.
right on it if we go that
Let's,
track. So I was hoping to be like slightly off to the left and go, or we can just change our angle out.
Oh, you're looking at the ship track. You don't get an ROV track?
No, the ROV track would be these targets, not the ship track.
Oh, I see, I see.
Yeah.
oh,
we
so
lost
we
the
were
ROV
looking,
track.
we're looking at the ship's track.
The black is the
Yeah.
ship track, and then these targets were dropped
Gotcha.
where the ROV was.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay, you've got us right on where they were.
Pretty much.
So you want to offset from their other track?
I was going to go parallel, offset by like 15, 20 meters, just to get a different view.
Well, what if we go the other way to the east of their track?
Either way, it's all the same.
If you offset to the east, are we more on top of the ridge?
No, we'll be less on top of the ridge, according to this, and a little bit less out of the backscatter zone.
Oh, by the sonar, it looks like it's uphill to our starboard.
Yeah.
So if you slide over another 5 or 10 to your starboard.
Then we'll be like on top of the line, though, won't we?
No, you'll be on top of the ship's line.
Ship's line. Okay.
Hey, you want a 5 meter offset, Rennie, or a 10?
I was just trying to figure a different view than what they've seen.
All right.
We already have video, even though it wasn't official transect, we already have video of that track. So I was just trying to get a different track, but also still stay on this feature. So
I think we're pretty much ready to do a transect.
Yeah.
When you guys are ready. I think we're close enough.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Good locating.
All right. I just have to decide the
Whenever.
direction, don't I?
You'll just get way better video for the transect
Yeah.
up here on the top than it.
Yeah, I think the best video would be the opposite direction that we're going.
Yeah.
Going down to up, but let me bump Argus over a little more if that's where we're going to be.
Because this is slightly downhill in this direction.
Yeah, it'll still be fine now. The video
But we're on we're bang on the peak of the ridge now.
Yeah.
That's good for your moving, right, Jake?
Yeah, I'm going to need to bump Argus over, I think, maybe.
Roger. Just looking at the sonar, so we're right on top of the ridge now. We were kind of down, so there's some uphill in front of us, at least for the next 30 meters or so.
I just bumped over a couple more meters. I thought that's what you want.
Ridge Rider Jake.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to not hit what they've hit just because we've already got video. So.
Yeah, I think it's best to see new stuff and see how far it extends.
Right, yeah, I was going on the west end, but we'll go on the east side now. Don't go that way.
I don't know. It just started moving me. I don't know what auto XY was doing.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, were you in auto XY?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my fault. I reset your DVL. I thought you were. I didn't see that you were in auto
All of a sudden,
XY.
it was just.
So I basically told it that its 0 position was in a different spot than it was. So that's on my list of things that navigators are not supposed to do, is reset without double checking. And I just presumed that you were out of it, so that was my bad. Thankfully, it was not violent.
No, it was pretty gentle.
Yeah, surprising. It's normally more violent than that.
That's why you never trust your autos.
Because there's somebody controlling.
Well, they tend to have the mind of their own for several reasons.
Have we started the transect yet or
No, we have not.
I'm sorry.
I've just bumped Argus over, and then we'll be moving along in the direction. I just want to make sure we're all going in the same
Roger. This is amazing.
Yeah, you can see just a little bit of live Pharea among all the dead. But then there's all that other
bridge nav
biology living on it.
Yeah. Tunicates,
200 meters
big
bearing 333. Thank you.
clam, sponges.
But so complex, so complex.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
already.
gonna look at the view from
Ready.
Argus.
This is
I
10.
wanna see the view from.
Yep.
So yeah, as soon as you see Argus moving in the direction
Yep.
you want, then 1837. Sorry. 10.
Mm.
So this is basically a glass sponge reef.
Yeah.
Bridge nav. That was 333 bearing. Thank you.
Some kelp
Missing a 3.
in the foreground.
Stand by. Yeah. Constant vigilance. There we go.
How far would 3 degrees over 200 meters put us off?
Oh, it was only 33. Not 333.
How far would 300 degrees?
That'll take us a bit off of this.
Do you see that? Is that the snake-like thing moving around? Is that just a
I think you can go, Jack.
Hagfish.
hagfish?
Looks like it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like a hagfish.
A thin one, a small one.
Yeah, or it could.
Okay, is this the start?
It's hard to see
Yep,
very well.
starting.
Okay.
Okay.
Woohoo!
Starting transect. I'm typing in the time when I see it.
Here we go.
And
Quantitative
we might
transect.
wanna. What's our speed right now?
Yeah, it just picked up really fast at first. I don't know why.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that was a bit odd. Yeah, I was like looking at
Yeah,
your
it was like,
point 2.
whoa,
and
whoa, this
I
is too
double checked.
fast.
I was like, did I bump up the speed or something?
okay, maybe it's,
It takes off fast at first. Thinks it has to get somewhere in a hurry.
It's raring to go.
yeah.
Okay, we got start of transect at 08:17:34.
Oh, doing it again.
You're going to have to go manual. So.
it's the, I see what it is. It's because you're losing Doppler.
What's that?
You're losing Doppler beams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It freaks out in the sponges.
Yeah.
If it loses Doppler, does that mean it doesn't know how fast it's going?
Correct.
Yep. Needs all 4 beams to be able to kind of figure out the velocity.
Thinks it's somewhere else.
Oh, so it.
Picks up speed.
Okay. Because of the irregularity of this, the complexity of the
Yeah,
surface
Yeah,
is what the Doppler has trouble with.
yeah, likely.
Interesting.
It has trouble on steep slopes, but this could also be it's not hearing back from all 4 beams the way it normally does. Something's
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, I
1 or
can
2
imagine.
gets lost in there.
I can see how.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks a
Wow.
lot like sound deadening material you
Yeah.
put in your studio.
Yeah.
it does. Yeah.
I've been trying to think about if there's any landscapes on land that you'd find anything like this. The best I could come up with is like a termite mound. This is what a termite mound looks like to a termite.
Or
That's a good
maybe
one.
some of those Lophelia reefs that we hear about in the Atlantic.
Does look like, although as we found, it's not as hard as that.
Ah,
You can stay really low, like almost
this
skimming
has
there.
so much space in it. It's
There are
really
rocks
nooks and
under it though,
crannies.
obviously.
Yeah.
Grew on some rock.
Yeah, I would suspect that the backscatter, high backscatter is not from this sponge, given how light it is, fluffy. It's probably, the sponge grew here for a reason. It's on bedrock, and that's kind of
Right.
what the reflectance is from.
Yeah.
It also matches the bathymetry of this mound-like feature. So.
But what would have caused it all to die like this?
We were talking to Tom and talking about whether or not it was always like this. You see there's little patches of Pharea around versus it once being, and then those eventually dying versus it once being like all Pharea.
You named like 5 or 6 possibilities.
Right, a lot of different ways that it could have been with between climate change or
Oxygen or something.
Oxygen change or a virus kind of wiping things out, or whether or not
like
it
a
ever,
warming event. Yeah.
right, and whether or not it ever was a reef versus patches like this.
He seemed to think an oxygen change or a pH change.
Yeah.
Or some combination of.
And he cited something, was it, or was it you, Di, talking about, I think it was him, he talked about an Alvin dive back in the area nearby, a bit deeper, and seeing a half-dead Pharea reef. So is it still?
Oh, yeah, that wasn't me, but
yeah.
Non-existent.
in the Catalina Basin,
Yes, it was in the Catalina Basin.
Gotta fly by the dots.
So that was during.
The DVL.
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I can put the vehicle there if you want.
That was
Judging on Argus.
the cruise last year.
There you go. It's up there now. Remind me to switch that back. That's on the USBL pings now.
Okay.
But you still have dead rec control for your autos when you switch into them. It's just the display right now.
So are these all dives that are that were done as part of Express dive, the ones in the Catalina Basin?
Yeah, last year, I've already forgotten the name of the ROV. Anyway, one of the targets was a area of sponges that Waldo Wakefield had dived on years before. I can't remember the year. It had been quite some time, and they wanted to go back to it. And I think the sponges were alive, if I'm remembering right, when Waldo had dived on it. And that may have been the Alvin dive when Waldo had been on it, but last year it wasn't the Alvin, obviously. Yeah, I have not seen the video of that, but it was quite impressive. And we did like 2 dives on it. Oh, look at that big heterocony on its side.
Yeah.
Dead. Wow. Yeah, so we'll have to come up with a different habitat classification for this transect as they go along, because the substrate is literally Pharea that everything else is on. We've had some transects up off Davenport in which the and now we're seeing some. Those are tunicates. We've had these brachiopod beds that are literally solid brachiopods off Davenport. And so some of our transects, we said, we got to change we got to come up with a new habitat code that's brachiopods.
Right. Because everything's just basically growing on it. It's not mud. It's not.
Yeah, it's not mud.
Boulder,
it's not rock.
Yeah.
It's brachiopods. And there wasn't much hanging out on it, using it.
I'm going to come up and spin Argus and see what that tether looks like. Shouldn't have phased you there.
That's fine.
Taylor Ann? Might want to mention in the log that we are currently driving off of USBL because the DVL has lost tracking in the Pharea, if you haven't already.
Okay.
That will matter for navigation purposes later.
But it will for, we'll have to remember that when we work up the navigation data for the transect for plotting and then locating all these things on the transect.
Certainly, yeah.
So the DVL lost ability to...
Yeah, the tracking we're using right now is USBL because DVL has dropped out, lost beams, you could say.
It might be because Jake's skimming the top of the hills there.
Yeah.
As we're going downhill also.
Yeah, good to note.
For the
I'm putting it
of this
under the sensor and instrument status. Yeah. Lost DVL tracking using.
We're shallow enough that the USBL is pretty
Speed up just a little bit, Jake.
Speeding up.
So I added it to the dive recovering data report.
Good, and I'm mentioning it in the transect log as well.
Okay, good. We're covered everywhere.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I'll even mark it in
when
this nav target.
See the tether there.
You just wanted to see the tether, yeah.
Yeah, it looks better. It's definitely more than a half turn in it.
What did
So
we call
minus
these
half turn
clams? I
puts
can't remember.
a twist in it there between the floats.
File clam.
Yeah. A cesta.
I hope my typing wasn't too annoying.
No, not at all.
Somebody in my earlier shifts, I get like, you'd hear someone typing and somebody go, I can hear typing. So it made me really self-conscious about typing, and I try to mute every single time.
Can you hear my typing?
But you all seem more
I can't.
tolerant.
Can you hear me typing? I've never even stopped.
I can hear a faint typing, but it's not like, and I don't know if you guys are all being just polite or it's driving you nuts, but please speak up if it's driving you nuts.
If it was driving us nuts, you'd know about it.
Yeah, we'd say something.
Okay. Somebody's typing.
Usually it's me chewing gum.
Yeah, so you'd want to like drill through this to see how far down before you get to rock, and then what does the rock look like under this? Is it complex as well or not?
Yeah, Tom was wanting to take a swipe at it with the manip, and we never, I don't know if they did after I was out. Just sat in for a few minutes at dinner.
We saw kind of the edges of it. We didn't see the bedrock in the main densest part, but on the periphery we did see some angular black blocky rock.
Big giant.
Yep. The size of Herc.
Wow.
Full of corals and sponges.
So how deep was it? Was it like a meter thick or 2 meters? If you could see the outline of the rock? Or was it not like that?
The rock on the periphery, it didn't really have too much Pharea on it. That's why we could see it. And then when Herc landed on it, it sunk down quite a bit, so it's hard to say how deep it was.
Look at that hagfish squeezing through a hole.
Yeah, I'd say we sank maybe half a meter when we,
Yeah.
Yeah, we had at least
at least a
foot on
at
the
least a
on the
foot.
front porch.
Uh,
Couldn't see the elbow on the or the wrist on the craft arm.
At least a foot, huh?
it was a kind of a semi-gentle landing.
Crunch.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
There's spots like right there where you can see, it looks like sediment, but that's probably not the bottom.
Right.
Broken down like.
Speed up just a little, Jake.
Yeah, I would imagine this would capture a lot of sediment.
Yep.
And it has, because that's why it looks brown, I'm guessing.
Right.
It's not cleaning itself anymore and then just trapping particles.
Yeah.
That sea star has got a good
So
spot there.
You can kind of see
Yeah.
the linearity of some of these Pharea stalks almost. They were so successful in the way that they were growing.
At the end of this transect, it would be really cool to sort of stop and zoom in and see what is growing and living in these little crevices. And
So
Wonder how old the new sponges are. Any
Yeah.
guess? Like when
say
the
how old they are?
yeah, so when the extinction event happened,
That's a very good way of
or
doing
was it
it.
like, you know, Mount St. Helens time ago, or was it this century? Or
Yeah.
Well, so at the end of the last shift, they were talking about how old some of these sponges are, and I guess the benchmark is this one species that grows 2 centimeters per year. So
Which one was that? I can't remember.
it was something something RAB.
Oh, I think that's one of the barrel sponges, right? Or the white
Yeah.
barrel sponges that
Yeah.
aren't shaggy, I think.
The boot or
oh,
Oh.
the boot sponges.
So if you see something that's 30 centimeters tall, it's probably 15 years old. Yeah.
Like the boot sponge on the right there.
Mm-hmm. So within this century,
Yeah.
but we don't have, that's based on one species. We don't know if the others
Yeah.
grow
Right.
at a similar rate.
Rhabdocalyptus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Abby, I scrolled back in the chat. Rhabdocalyptus dawsoni grows about 2 centimeters per year.
Get out ahead a little more.
I'll Google that and see what it is. Can
Or
you
we slow
imagine
the
what
ship
this looked
down.
like
How
when it
fast
was
is the
all
ship going?
alive?
0.3, I'll slow to 0.2.
My speed, I can't
Bridge
really. I'm
nav?
just judging it by.
Well, yeah, keep it in the center of the Argus. I'm looking straight down, so if you get any more, you're under Argus now.
Okay.
Slow speed to 0.2.
Oh my, look at that view from Argus. This is crazy. What a crazy habitat.
What?
And bridge nav. Sorry, let's add another 50 meters to this. Thank you.
Yeah, so I use that Argus to judge my speed there now.
Okay.
Stay in the center of the picture, basically.
Yeah, so the boot sponge with I think what we're calling a shaggy dog sponge is the one that grows 2 centimeters a year.
Mm-hmm.
A
Did
shaggy
you look
dog
up
or a sheepdog?
Rhabdocalyptus?
I like shaggy dog.
Yeah. It's impressive, but some of these are huge.
Yeah, it's the dirty sponge, right? Rhabdocalyptus dawsoni. Boot sponge. Where'd it go?
We're
Yeah.
nearing the
Where'd they
target that
go?
says Pharea end. So it looks like
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the extent that they found was.
But it kind of looks like it just starts back up here.
Amazing.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they
let's,
didn't
Yeah,
go
and they
farther
did.
than.
yeah,
Okay,
let's
and
see if
so
it does.
were we supposed to take a Niskin at the end of this transect, Lisa, or not?
No, but we
Okay,
but
so
we
we're supposed
could.
to continue exploring.
Yes. We're supposed to collect some of the dead Pharea and maybe do a 3D mosaic if we see something worthy. Yeah, it continues here.
It
Does.
does.
So there's a little river of no Pharea. And then are we still on transect?
Still on transect.
Yeah.
A bit too
Okay.
fast.
Well, you can hear the delay, or you can.
Yep.
We all went oop, oop, oop.
One demerit.
My apologies to that sponge.
Yeah.
So sorry. My mouth is just open. My jaw is just in a perpetual drop.
The big white
Yeah.
sponge in the background coming up.
Huge.
Massive.
Yeah, in the upper right.
Yeah.
That's interesting looking, isn't it?
I can slow down just a touch too.
I could also speed the ship back up.
Or you can speed back up. Yeah, either way.
Bridge now.
Doesn't matter to me.
Increase speed to 0.3. Thank you. Keeping them busy up there.
Wow.
Getting some good overview video in Argus too, and they're
Yeah.
taking
yeah,
pictures
great.
as well too. Trying to keep Herc in the center of the shot there.
Wow. I'm looking at the Argus shot. It's amazing. It's really exciting to think that this is completely newly discovered.
Yeah.
And all thanks to the mapping that you guys did in 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. A lot of the mapping, thanks to y'all at Nautilus. But also, Chris Caldo just put together a really great group of folks to focus on mapping. And not just in sanctuaries, right? Just the entire West Coast. And it's become, I think there's a big initiative that's now funded by Congress to map the U.S. waters.
That's right. Yeah, and it's kind of part of the contributing to Seabed 2030, which is an ambitious goal to map the world's oceans within a certain resolution by 2030. And that's being compiled. And yeah, we've certainly done a lot on the West Coast, a lot of mapping over since 2015, 2016.
Yeah, and anytime the Nautilus would go anywhere, you just would turn on your sonar and map.
That's right. Yeah, we have a lot of transit mapping, and we've also done some dedicated surveys, especially, I mean, the whole Channel Islands region, we've mapped such a significant portion of this.
Do they have like a running ticker for that Seabed 2030, like keeping track? I feel like that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, well, part of what the stage is like gathering what is existing through either publicly available or could be publicly available but isn't hosted very well in a public repository. And then also working with some like industry partners to see if they're willing to give up degraded resolution data, things like that.
What's the resolution they're aiming for?
I think it's something like 1 ping per 100 meters of seafloor.
Yeah,
so oftentimes it's very much, if you're using multi-beam, it's often much higher resolution than that. But I think that that's kind of the aim, especially as they go into deeper waters, is have something like that resolution.
Yeah.
And what
It's hard to
resolution?
get.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Keep talking. It's hard to get 5-meter resolution in, thousands of meters.
Yeah, you need an
depth,
AUV for that.
kind of depth dependent.
And is this 10 meter base? I'm looking at the high pack and the ship width and the...
Yeah, it says 10-meter backscatter, but you can get higher resolution backscatter from it. So I think I gridded this to 15, which may have been over-resolved in some of the deeper areas, but certainly appropriate for the shallower bits. All right, so that's the end of the transect right there.
Thank you. I was just about to say, are we still on transect? Good.
Wow.
Thanks for keeping an eye on that.
Rennie makes these 200-meter circles on high pack when we do the transit, so you can see when we're approaching the edge.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot.
But I like
was that
asking.
10? Yes, transect
yes.
10.
Transect 10. Okay.
So it continues on, and this is uncovered ground for ROV. So I don't know if you still want to keep going in this direction.
Uncharted territory. They said to continue north, right, Lisa? Now.
Yes.
But
why don't we collect the Pharea first?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do
Bridge nav.
Yeah. It's 20 to 2, so we're doing good on time.
Let's hold
I
position.
think.
We want a live one or a dead one or both?
Dead.
Dead, yeah.
Dead. Dia de las Muertes.
Do we want, I guess we'll have to see how well it sticks together if they're going to get dead in the slurp.
Yeah.
Or...
So see where right up there in front of you? And
whatever works for you all.
Stop,
if you want to
stop there.
See how crunchy it is again.
Stop.
We're stopped.
ROV stop. Tilt down with your camera. Look at your slurp. You're gonna do a slurp on the fly, Jake.
Okay. I was bumming I missed out when you did this earlier.
Yeah, you were here last night when I did it, right? Are you trying to do your camera here? Bucket. Flush. Herc hydraulics. Flushing.
So we're likely going to put it in a jar.
We are going to put it in a jar. Jake's going to do some slurping on the fly. Just flushing right now. What jar do we have?
Jar number 6.
Jar number 6, Roger.
Sample 144?
Yes, correct.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, is that 6? Yeah.
That is.
Let me center it up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cat shark.
Hey.
Suction is on. So you just want to kind of
slowly creep in.
Yep. And you want to pick a spot where it hits the suction sampler.
Yep. It looks like something different right in front of this sampler.
There's some hydroids growing on it.
Gently nose in there.
Oh, I see the cat shark.
Uh-oh, is there something in there now?
Who is it?
In the
where?
jar?
There is something in 6.
Oh.
There's a piece of sponge.
Was that stuck in the hose or something?
Yeah, must have been.
Must have been flush enough.
That's probably a part of
So you want to
slurp number 5.
You want to go to another jar and burn that one then?
Since it's a sponge, it's probably the safest bet.
What's that?
Since it's a sponge, it's probably the safest bet to go with another jar.
Copy. 7.
So we're okay.
It looks like clavularia right ahead of us. We can look at while we're.
Okay. Stuff that nozzle in it.
And those are all tunicates? Also the Will the
Turn all your autos off.
The white
Just having
fluffy
Good.
looking